Who wants to live in a world with no forgiveness and redemption?
I'm not a religious guy. It's not about like whether you're going to argue over evolution. Recognize and see that there's maybe something bigger than yourself. And because of what I had seen, I remember leaving thinking, I want to be a better man.
Welcome back, everyone. Let's break it down. Nearly a decade ago, a clip of Ben Affleck went viral for all the right reasons. He sat across from two of the most aggressively Islamophobic voices in mainstream media, Bill Maher and Sam Harris, and dismantled their narrative with calm, principled conviction. That clip never gets old. But today we are revisiting it with fresh context, because in a recent appearance on Joe Rogan's podcast, Ben Affleck quietly revealed the source of that conviction. And it connects directly to one of the most powerful Muslim figures of the 20th century. Let's get into it.
Are you the person who understands the officially codified doctrine of Islam? You're saying that Islamophobia is not a real thing.
But why are you so hostile about this?
It's gross. It's racist.
Islam but why is the mother lode of bad ideas?
Jesus.
So we have.
How about the more than a billion people who aren't fanatical, who don't punch women, who just want to go to the store?
Wait a second. Wait a second.
Don't do any of the things that you're saying all Muslims do. Stereotyping and you painting the whole group religion with that.
No.
What is your solution? Just condemn Islam? We've killed more Muslims than they've killed us by an awful lot. We've invaded more Muslims.
I am not for more killing.
What Ben Affleck did in that moment on Bill Maher's show was genuinely rare. He was outnumbered, sitting across from two men who had built significant public platforms on the back of anti-Muslim rhetoric, and he refused to nod along. He pushed back directly, pointing out that over 1 billion Muslims exist who do not fit the violent caricature being painted. That painting an entire global religious community with one brush is the textbook definition of bigotry, and that the West has killed far more Muslims than the reverse. Bill Maher and Sam Harris had no real answer to any of it. They just repeated their talking points louder. And Ben Affleck kept his ground. What makes this clip endure is not just what he said. It is that he said it at all, unprompted, on a platform designed to validate exactly the opposite view. That takes a certain quality of character that most people in Hollywood simply do not possess.
Who wants to live in a world with no forgiveness and redemption? Right. That's crazy. Yeah. Like, that's just denying the very nature of human beings. And that people do things that they regret, and then they become better people because of it.
Yeah, some of the people I would rely on the most, like trust my kids with the most, have done it that they really regret. Whether it's like addiction, I got myself down this road, I did this. They're able to go, I did it, I'm sorry, it's real, I shouldn't have done it, it was wrong. Those people can become someone that's very trustworthy. You know, I'm not a religious guy, and yeah, I'm aware of all the there's the religion. What's the role of grace in life? Right. It's not about like whether you're going to argue over evolution. It's about like how graceful are you in your life? You know, how much dignity can you afford other people? And are you willing to recognize and see that there's maybe something bigger than yourself, and that there's a reason to try to sort of to find that grace, to get better. I remember where I was when I saw Denzel Washington play Malcolm X. Went to the movie, watched that movie, and I remember leaving. I was 19, thinking I want to be a better man. I thought that in my mind, you know, because of what I had seen. That was the only real conscious thought I had, but I remember having it and kind of being surprised by it, you know. It's really touched me.
Now we understand where that character came from. On Joe Rogan's podcast, Ben Affleck spoke about the concept of grace, forgiveness, redemption, the willingness to recognize something larger than yourself and use it as motivation to become better. And then he traced all of it back to a single cinematic moment at age 19. He watched Denzel Washington play Malcolm X. He walked out of that cinema with one clear thought in his mind: I want to be a better man. That is the origin. Malcolm X, a Muslim, a human rights champion, a man who lived and breathed the values of Islam, not just in his words but in every dimension of how he carried himself, became the role model that shaped Ben Affleck's moral framework at the most formative point of his life. And that foundation is precisely why, decades later, when two Islamophobes sat across from him on national television, his instinct was not to stay quiet and protect his career. His instinct was to stand up. Malcolm X needs no introduction, but his relevance today deserves to be restated. He was a man who confronted racial oppression and systemic injustice at a time when doing so came with genuine mortal risk. He embodied Islam not as a label but as a living practice, and his words continue to cut through to the present moment with surgical precision. His observation that media will have you loving the oppressor and pitying no one else describes the current landscape of Gaza coverage with an accuracy that is almost uncomfortable. The man saw it all coming. The fact that a 19-year-old, Ben Affleck, walked out of a cinema in the 1990s wanting to be a better man because of Malcolm X, while Bill Maher and Sam Harris apparently drew their moral compass from somewhere that produced nothing but contempt for an entire religious civilization, tells you everything about the power of who you choose to learn from. Role models shape worldviews. Worldviews shape courage. And courage is exactly what Ben Affleck showed that day on national television. Ben Affleck may not consider himself a religious man, but the values he absorbed from Malcolm X, grace, accountability, the recognition of something beyond yourself, standing up for people being wronged, are deeply Islamic values. And they showed up exactly when they were needed. Bill Maher and Sam Harris are still out there, still recycling the same tired script, still convinced that reducing nearly 2 billion human beings to a stereotype constitutes serious intellectual thought. Ben Affleck knew better at 19. He still knows better now. And Malcolm X, gone from this world for decades, is still changing people through the power of how he lived. Legends never die. So that is it for today. What are your thoughts on Ben Affleck's Malcolm X revelation? Drop your views in the comments below. Until next time, be safe. Thank you for watching.